Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of one of your favorite program on Heritage Television. Tonight we're talking about structure and function of teams in Nigeria. How we can make things to work properly, how we can make things to go the way they're supposed to go. And today I have some few gentlemen who are experts in their field, who knows exactly what they will be talking about tonight. We'll be showing them. The first person I want to introduce is Mr. Davidson or a Vision. He's from America, and I wouldn't want to say much about him, but I would like him to actually say something about himself to the audience. Go ahead, Mr.
Yes, good evening, everyone. This is Prince Aruba Joye Oluwamayowa Davidson, AO Vision. I am based in America. I'm, of course, from Nigeria. I'm a researcher, and I'm the author of the book, The Panacea for Africa's Pain. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And the next person I want to introduce is Mr. Benjamin. Benjamin is a very good friend. We've come a long way, maybe about 3 years now or 4 years. I used to argue with him. I used to say so many things to him. I know the family very well, and they're doing very well in the community in England. Mr. Benjamin, could you speak to our audience, please?
Thank you very much. As you said, my name is Mr. Benjamin Antia. I'm a lawyer and an activist. Currently, I'm the chairman, Niger Delta Forum UK. I've been into other forums. I'm from Akwa Ibom State, and I'm based in the UK. And that's me for now.
Thank you very much, sir. The next person is somebody who is very, very close to my heart. I will call on this gentleman in the middle of the night anytime that I feel like and say, you're doing the program with me. I wouldn't even put place. And the good thing about it is that he has never said no to me. Ayo Ogundimo, Citizen AY. We're from Abeokuta together. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening to you all. You all know me as Citizen AY. The aim of the platform AY is to bring information to not only to all Nigerians, and more specifically looking into to help Southerners in my. We need information to be able to make decisions in our life, and more people, because of the work we're doing, get that information, and we tend to continue with that. But I'll stop there.
Great. Mr. Ogundimu, I think there might be a little bit of interference. Did you have a system going on in your hand? Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, so structure and function of teams. I have a fatherly figure in the media industry, Otumba Olabode Oseni, Otumba Ho. He always say Nigeria is not working because there's no structure. There's no structure. There's no structure. There's no structure. That is what the man says every time to me. So first of all, should I go to Citizen AY or should I go to Mr. Davidson in America? Probably I will go to Mr. Davidson in America. Structure in Nigeria, what is the problem?
Yes. So when we talk about the Nigerian structure in the Nigerian nation, when it comes to nation building and national development, there's a place of structure and there's a place of function. So the functionality of any system has nothing to do particularly with the structure when it comes to dependency. The functionality of a system literally, is the bedrock, is the determinant of how a structure should be. Unfortunately, in the Nigerian environment, the structure comes first. They come first on how to build school. They come first on building road before even thinking of what purpose the road should serve. So, and that is where the concern is. And that is why this topic is coming up today. Thank you.
Okay. it's a very good idea. They think first about the road. They don't think about what is the road going to serve. And what the road should serve is the most important thing. The purpose of the road is much, much important than anything else. So, is there a structure in Nigeria, Mr. Benjamin?
Well, when you say structure, because everyone has the way they look at things. When you say structure, putting up structures in Nigeria, you have to be able to specify exactly what you're talking about, because everything has got structures. Even when they're not working, you have schools, you have hospitals, you have road networks, as he's talking about, and the rest of the things that has been introduced not today in Nigeria. Some of them which are still in existence, and some are not actually working. So, but if you want to say structures and functionalities, you have to be able to actually specify what or where you're talking about, so that we'll be able to hit the nail on the head. Okay, going back to what he was talking about, road network, for example. I think Nigeria, in Nigeria so far, I come from Akwa Ibom State, and you guys are from the West, so there's no way you can tell me that there is no road network in Nigeria, even when it is not perfect, even when it is not up to the standard of road that we're talking about. There is already that structures which people need to build upon. So the problem there could be maybe, have you been able to build upon the structures that have been laid, or is there any structure at all?
Okay, thank you very much. When we talk about structure, we're not talking about infrastructure. Yeah, we're not actually talking about infrastructure.
Okay.
I'm sorry for that. I got a little bit of interference here.
I think I would like to come in from there.
Okay, you come in.
If
come
you
in.
Yes. So I happen to have a privilege of also partly coming from Akwa Ibom. So, and matter of fact, I mean, I'm talking about by virtue of conjugal connection. So
Okay.
So matter of fact, I came back from, I have in-laws in Akwa Ibom. So my
Okay.
quite a number of them, they are from Akwa Ibom. So now I just arrived the US recently, like sometime around January, and I arrived directly from Akwa Ibom. And he's right when it comes to road network. Akwa Ibom has one of the best road networks in the entire country as we speak today. However, so in terms of having the structure, or talking about structure in national development,
Okay.
what is going on in Akwa Ibom is exactly what the Nigerian nation is all about. So we do the cosmetic development. We have such beautiful road network. I mean, for any leader who chooses to do it, it is not by systemic drive. It is by virtue of choice. So if the leader is benevolent enough, if he is nice enough, he would put it in place. Which by track record, I think, if correct me if I'm wrong, because we are from Akwa Ibom. So I believe the former governor actually led this campaign of building the good road network. So, which in any way the current governor may choose to follow up with such development, or he might even decide not to, especially if the former governor is an oppositional entity. He might choose not to.
Yeah.
So this is where we come in when we talk about national development, where the problem is, because we lean so much on structural perspective of nation building. It becomes difficult to have a continuity in development. becomes difficult to engage ourselves even the more when it comes to development. But if we lean on the functionality of a system, it doesn't matter what your political affiliation is going to be. It doesn't matter what your ethical or tribal affiliation is, or your religious affiliation. There will be a standard obligation to actually continue what exists. There will be an obligation to do more, and that is where the functionality comes in. What we do currently in Nigeria is all about the structural perspective of national development, which brings us to the fact that an individual, a leader, a political leader can just wake up one morning and say, this is what the people want. Then he goes ahead to do it. That is why they will do ball system in a community that needs school. And the people will come back to say, how come how come you are bringing ball to us? Just like the last time Desmond Elliott built public toilet, public latrine, like in 2-3 rooms of public latrine in a community that actually needs their environment sanitized, and they chastised him for that. So this is where the concern is. So our leaders, because of the structural approach to national development that they currently have, it becomes difficult for them to even plan ahead and envision things and project development. So what do they have to do? How can they rechannel their developmental perspective towards our national development? And that is when we talk about the functionality of the system. That's where function comes in. Rather than you waking up in the morning to tell us what the people should need, what you think the people need, how about we go into a pool of database? How about we go into a pool of data and pull off from the pool with facts and figures that in this community, if the same road network, come to think of it, the same road network that we are hailing that is so good in Akwa Ibom today, I can guarantee you that in the next 15 years, the road network will not be able to have that capacity to contain the development in Akwa Ibom. Because by the time the population increases, for example, it becomes a problem. There will be more traffic. There will be flood, and a lot of other mechanical and physical disasters could come in, and everything becomes, we return back to ground zero. But that is structural perspective of national development. But when you come to functionality of the system and functional perspective of national development, we talk about data and database, where facts and figures can help us to project nation building. Thank you.
Okay. Is it okay if I step in there? Hello? Step in? Okay. I would just like to put, thank you very much, Davidson, for your explanation there. Being the author of the book, that's a very, very good way of bringing this subject in, before and people are aware of what you mean by functionality. And I agree with you. Our structure that we have, it doesn't allow for functionality. It's not that it is not facing, not putting functionality at its core. So, like you're saying, you can build a road, you can build anything you want, but that's not the focus. The people.
Hold on
What
one second.
Where do they need the road? How many people in that area? Are we going to build in futuristic road building so it meets their needs as they grow? All of this stuff. That's what functionality is about. In fact, the whole of the Nigerian economy, the whole of Nigerian government is all about this structure. And that structure does not account for, nor does it allow for functionality to be the leading factor, to always guide what the government does. That's listening. It's like a listening ear to the people. When you're functional, you're listening to what the people are saying before you make your final decisions. And you're basing that on facts. And like Davidson said, you're basing it on the number of men, women, young, old, boys, girl, the demographic, disabled people, for example, in the area. What plans have you got for building for them? These are the kind of things, or for the hospitals, or for the healthcare, the toilet, all facilities. So functionality is leading one. If you had a functioning economy in Nigeria, functionality would lead the government to be looking at getting data in any given area. Because without that data, you cannot provide what the people need. What you will be doing is putting the needs of the people after you made the road. Too late. Once you build that road, it's too late. You have to be led by the functionality, which will drag you into the data. This is where the deficit is coming in. I hope I hope that makes sense. I want to just say that because I really, I'm feeding to what I'm saying here. I'll stop there for now.
Okay. One thing, I'm going to ask you one question. Citizen AY. In Nigeria, we have birth and death registry.
Yeah.
And we had that for some few years now. Maybe about 20, 30 years. Even if it's not up to 50 years. If you have that for 30 years, by now, we should have a database of people who are born in the last 30 years, the people who have passed on in the last 30 years. The database in Nigeria on this one, is it working at all?
No.
Mr. Davidson.
Sure. Good.
Mr. Davidson. I would like to hear Mr. I would like to hear my Akwa Ibom brother's perspective on that question before I come in.
Mr. Benjamin. Go, Mr. Benjamin. Let's hear what you think.
Yeah, okay. If I want to take on that question right now.
The birth registry and the death registry
in
Nigeria. Is it working?
Okay. My brother, that question is very I don't even know how to put it because I may say to you that it works, but really and truly, if you want to face the real fact, that doesn't work in Nigeria because when you say database and that we have old records, I can remember 10 years ago when I was handling some issues for some guy, and one of his requirements was for him to actually bring his birth certificate that he was born in Nigeria. So I made some calls out to some of my colleagues in Nigeria to see how to actually go into the details of where he was born and how to raise the birth certificate and the rest of the things. But my brother, the result that I had at the end of the day was quite appalling because they started from saying to me that they have to go to swear affidavit. After swearing affidavit to the court, and they have to go and tell the court when he was born. So, initially, everything was based on his own explanation, what he told them. And when we got into the actual details of the thing, we realized that even the age that he was even telling us did not rhyme with the actual date that he was born. What does that tell you? That tells you that even the system back out there is not functional. Not to even talk about the person that has the intention to go and pull up his birth certificate. So my answer to that is no. There is nothing like that. Even when we have old records, some of these old records are based on sentiment. Sentiment in the sense that anybody can wake up anytime and say to you, listen, this record is proper when it is not. But if we had a proper detailed database system, all you need to do is to log into the system, type in a name, and that will bring up all the details. So the system is not working. From my own perspective, it's not working at all.
Okay. What can we do, Citizen AY? In our constitution, we are the constitution expert. Why is there nothing in our constitution that says we should keep this database working? Is there anything in there to say this database must be maintained? And who is probably responsible for maintaining this database?
Look, in the constitution, the government needs to have those data. It is in the constitution. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah. In the constitution, it states that the government needs accurate data to actually be able to plan for each citizen. It's the duty of the government to provide facilities to ensure the free movement of goods and services for all citizens throughout the Federation. What that means in effect is this. It means that the government must make sure that they factor in for every citizen in a given area the services they need, from birth to death and everything in between. I'll say it again, from birth to death and everything in between. Unfortunately, what we have is this slapdash attitude. Our problem goes back down to, you all know the story, it goes back down to the census. You see, when you are jigging and making fake figures up for census, those who are doing it, they are not thinking of the impact of the census on the day-to-day running of a given economy. When you go and lie and you say, one area has got this number of people, they've got X number of that, they've got all of that. What happens is, when the time comes to make development in that area, whatever plans you have, if you base it on estimates, it will be wrong, because you don't have accurate data. And that is what we get from. And those areas, so for example, an area would say, I have 2 million people. In actual fact, they have 1 million. So the budget that should be shared to equally to other areas based on the number of people they have in that area. That means that they're getting 2 million, 1 million too much. And that means another area will deprive. So these people don't understand. Those who are very busy, quick to inflate figures, to inflate the census in certain areas, they don't understand that they're doing real damage to the entire economy of that contraption. So they're actually, in the long run, because of their short-termism of looking at the quick gains that they can make by not having accurate data, it now impacts the life of the man you just spoke about, Benjamin spoke about. That man now, he couldn't tell you his exact date because we don't have those records. They have to use affidavit. Even President Buhari had to go and swear on affidavit about his qualification. So you can see straight away that our economy is a disaster. It is a disaster. Functionality can never have space in that kind of a structure where the census is based on, and it's still, after coming up to 60 years, based on estimates. And this is when they talk about having database, that's what we mean. Database for each area, which means that you can look at any given area and to make a quick of what you need. Okay, you will have the number of the people, young, old, rich, poor, disabled. You'll have all of that. So you can be able to make accurate plans right there. You are led by those information. The other way around, estimates, you can go anywhere. You'll get it wrong. And that's what the problem of that nation is. So yes, there is a lot I could go into now, but definitely in the Constitution, it is the core of it. You need to be able to provide those facilities for the people. But to do that, you need accurate information. And those things, those in power, they don't even comply because they are refusing to let us have an accurate census done in that nation. I said again, I was saying to Davidson before we started, I said this thing to do with this coronavirus and 5G, this is a perfect opportunity for us to build an accurate data picture of the entire Nigerian structure. Because what we could do right now, whilst they're holding and locking everybody down, they could be taking names of young and old in any area. They could be saying, okay, the feeding or the paying them money whilst they're stuck home. They could get accurate data in every area. This could be done. It's not rocket science, because we can build a picture of the population demographics right across Nigeria right now in this time span, and it can be done very quickly. But unfortunately, our government they haven't got that vision to take this on board. This is an opportunity to actually build something. There it is, but they won't take it, I'm afraid. I'll stop there for now.
Can I ask you one question? Mr. Benjamin, you are a lawyer. And the reason I want to put this question to you is this, yeah? If the government give the people who are working in the registry department the job of building the registry, every name of any child born in Nigeria must be entered, every person that died in Nigeria. Some people even died in Nigeria, and there's no doctor certification for their death. Before you even think about anything, they bury the person, right? So who is at fault? Is it the government or the people they put there? And what check and balance can we put to make sure this work properly? And if it's not working, who is to blame? Mr. Benjamin.
Okay, first of all, when you have a bad government, there is no way you can have a proper conduct in the state. I was discussing with one of my friends yesterday about some of the guys back home who are into political offices, like smallest office like a councillor. Being a councillor in United Kingdom, me and you know what it takes, and we know that they understand their duties and obligations as councillors. Their duty is in the community. They go into the community. They will be sure that they go into house to house to sensitize and go into house to house to know the numbers of people they have, so that they can that can reflect on their census. Yeah. Then also you have these councillors who goes about all the places to know each and every problem that each one of the individuals will have. So they will now take this system back to the council. When they get back to their council, now they can, you that is representing your ward can talk on behalf of your ward. And when you are talking on behalf of your ward, you can talk authoritatively because you know exactly what you are talking about. You know the number of people that lives in your ward. You know how many people you want to take care of. So this also goes back to that same system. When you have a system of government that you hand over the contract of carrying out the proper registry databasing to people who are not even qualified to do that kind of a job in the first place, there is a problem. That means from the foundation there's a problem. So the situation you have the government giving out the contract to these people and they are not able to carry out means that there is no actual system of checkmate. These guys have not been checkmated from the first instance. Okay, when the contract is given out in the first place, you are giving the contract out to people who do not understand their left or right. When you pass through that side, you have the issues of bribing people to actually carry out the job. It is only in Nigeria that you will see when government gives out contract to people, people will take the contract and submit the contract to other contractors, and the other contractor will submit the contract to the other one, and they will take what belongs to them and walk away from that. And by the time they take what belongs to them, they walk away. They believe they have completed their part of the deal. How can that kind of system work? There is no way it can work. So when the government are ready, or when government is ready to do something that is very tangible or something that is correct, they will start by giving the contract to the right people and setting up a committee to be sure that they foresee the way the contract is being carried out. And at the end of the day, you build a committee to look into that project, because it's going to be a project to look. Build a committee to look into that project and be sure that everything is carried out professionally and the way it should be, so that when there is a failure, you will know where to go to.
Okay. So
a system of saying the problem is from the government, the problem is from this one, will not have it. You will know directly who to face. Is it the contractor? Is it the guys that was in the committee? Is it the supervisors? Is it this? So there has to be division of labor. People has to work, and there has to be honesty in their mind, because one of the problem we have in Nigeria is dishonesty. By the time you give out contract to people to carry out, they call it their contract. They will forget about the fact that this has to do with everybody. This is a national or a state project. They will forget about all that. So when the government of the day are not ready or is not ready to look into the affairs of raising a proper registration system, there's no way we can have something good at all. So okay. You really cannot blame anybody.
Okay.
At the end of the day.
We cannot blame anybody. Mr. Davidson, we can't blame anybody when the job is not being done. Maybe the law, maybe they need to pass a law to say, if you're given a contract, you cannot give that contract out to somebody else again. Will that fix the problem, Mr. Davidson?
Okay, so let's go by this perspective for a second. You know, it's very difficult to try to solve primary problems with secondary solutions.
Yeah.
So you can't get the expected results, which is what has been happening in Nigeria even since the very first day of independence in October 1st, 1960. So, I mean, you want to make a law to curb corruption when the fundamental factors of national development, the same fundamental factor is combated against. The same fundamental factor is buried, is slid under the carpet. And what is that fundamental factor? Just like Mr. Benjamin mentioned, you give out contracts, you know, people want to collect a lot of money. They want to collect, extra money, their own part of their own share of the money, and XYZ. See, these things only exist in a structural based nation building perspective.
Structural deficiency system.
In a nation that operates by structure. Now let me bring you back a little bit. When we say a nation operates by structure, not by function, it gives room for the monarchical system of national development. The Oga at the top has the final say. That is why you cannot, if you are not the son of nobody in Nigeria, you cannot become somebody. Because you have to connect yourself to see somebody at the highest order of power before you get a contract, before you even do what is right. Now, that is the monarchical system of national development. Because the king has the final say. Because somebody at the top always has the final say. Now, coming back to functionality, which is an opposite what we are currently practicing in the country. A country where the system becomes functional through data and centralized database system. When you apply for a contract, first of all, the government will be able to run your background on the database to know how long you have existed in the industry, to be able to verify even as little as reviews and feedbacks from your own customers, to be able to understand your financial capacity, the database will not allow you to pad it up. You cannot lie about it. They can pull it up. They can pull up your record. Everything that needs to be looked into, they can pull it up and look into it. When they look at it and they find you viable, they give you the contract. And guess what? The same database that has been synchronized will allow the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS. It will allow them to be able to pull up that information because the database is centralized. So when you get such contract, what happens next? The Ministry of Finance, who is giving out money to you, will immediately send a signal to, because they cannot lie about it. So they have to send a signal to every department, every agency that surrounds the functionality of that project, including the tax revenue unit. When they send a signal, all they have to do is put in your TIN, where TIN is applicable in businesses, or even put in your biometric identification number in the case of an individual. Then those things, the tax department pulls out your record and then assign, because the system itself will be the one to calculate your percentage tax that you are supposed to pay on such project. The Ministry of Finance will give out money. The money will land only where it's supposed to land in your account to do the project. Now, the factor of Oga no day, I must collect money before you see Oga, those factors can then be buried. How? Because the system is now an interface. The system is well synchronized from the database that if you say you collect a contract of 1 million naira, for example, 1 million naira remains 1 million naira everywhere in the database. So the people, the consumers, the citizens can as well access this information. And when you bring a product to the table, even if you import materials that you use for the same project, those materials, custom is on the database. The name of your company, bringing in the product is on the database. How much material you bring in on the database. The unit price is on the database. These things are on the database. This is functionality of the system we are talking about. So the issue of, making law or not making law. Yes, it's good to make law, but do you make law in an environment where, there's no functionality? Do you make law in an environment where there's no database that exists? Database is the building block, is the fundamental building block of a functional system. And if you do not go by that first, there's no way you can make law to be able to satisfy the objective of curbing corruption. Because you make the law only works on the invisible. How would you know if money has been stolen when there's no data that can account for the stolen money? But you make the law. How is that going to work?
So
that's my own point of contention. I rest here. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
you very much for that. One thing I want to probably understand, because our lawmaker, are they not educated enough to know all this?
Can I step in? Can I answer that
Please,
question?
Please, yeah. I will let you go first, and after you finish, I will let Mr. Benjamin do it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we all know when even the Chief Justice of Nigeria cannot provide a certificate, and I'm not making this up, if he cannot provide a certificate about his own qualifications in secondary school, I believe, primary school, and then this is allowed to go forward, that tells you exactly what the makeup of our lawmakers are in that contraption. Again, this is the issue about having database. You see, when you have database, what that database is, it actually encourages the nation to have a mindset of honesty about what they do. Because that data is about capturing what is there. There's nothing imaginary about it. It's going like, okay, we're going to this area. We want to know how many people are born here, how many people are, have died, how many people are young, how many people are old, how many people are disabled. Okay, how many accountants do we have in this area? How many people studied in school? What age did they do? All of this stuff. So what that does, how many certificates are given out? All of that stuff, it means that you're storing data. The minute you start making estimates for anything, there's gaps where anything can drop into that. And that hole is what you have with and brain and qualification, where you have Chief Justice of Nigeria saying that it's perfect. So this is such it's really actually at the chances of success that we would have had. So many of those, when you have leadership like that, who are making decisions about the population, then it only makes it easier for the senator to do the same thing. It makes it easier for a councillor to do the same thing. It makes it easier for finance ministers to lie about the education. So you can see the snowball effect. But if you had from the get-go that the sensors capture that exact detail, then it have allowed to slip into our consciousness by allowing the rigged census to stay in place for close to 60 years, as that gap is filled with lies, trickery, people who have no qualification going to sit in houses. So I could go on, but you get the picture.
When was the last census in Nigeria?
Well, not.
We didn't capture that. Yeah. Let Mr. Benjamin take over. When was the last census in Nigeria?
When was the last time I did what?
When was the last census in Nigeria?
Census. The last census.
Oh, but I really can't write home. I can't write home about that because I haven't been to Nigeria. The whole system of census is upside down. So for me, I think when you talk about census in Nigeria, you're talking about something very different from the census of me and you know. But I wanted to go back to the lawmaker point that you were talking about. Yeah, about the lawmakers in the country, because it's a big shame, my brother, when it comes to saying lawmakers. You see, in Nigeria, a system that when you have a situation that even the chief judge of the federation is being appointed by the president himself, all right, that shows you, you know, in a very wide view, what is happening in that kind of a country. In a country that you do not have judicial independence, is a big problem. So, but let me draw your mind back to something. Most of these lawmakers we are talking about, like the senators and the rest of the guys that we see, all right, these guys, most of them schooled in abroad. They know what you know. They go to America, they go to Australia, they come to England, they go to every part of the world. They know how things work. But you know what baffles me most?
Yeah.
The fact that they will come back and they will reduce themselves into a certain system that sucks. It's shameful. 80% of our lawmakers school abroad.
Mr. Benjamin,
yeah.
Please,
yes.
Permit me to come in from there. I've heard this argument, you know, several times. Honestly, that our leaders actually know what to do, that they have just refused to do it. So I've read that argument 1,001 times, to be honest. Now, I mean, partly it is correct. On the other hand, partly it is not totally correct, and this is my view about it. Sometime last year, I was on a live broadcast, just like this. I was having an interview. So, some of the social media warriors of the political establishment, you know, they were bombarding, you know, they actually congested the interview to a very large extent. They congested the interview and they kept on saying, oh, you're talking about data. Nigeria already has data. Nigeria has BVN. Nigeria has phone, telephone number. They listed all those things that exist in Nigeria currently, you know, and they kept on talking about a lot of things. So, and at the end of the day, one thing I was able to, as a researcher, evaluate from that context, after I threw out my submission to them, you know, and I asked them what exactly they could use all those things for, because one of them even raised a very significant point. He said that the phone number in Nigeria alone, if totally, you know, if well harnessed and synchronized, it can form a larger chunk of data that Nigeria needs for development. And I objected it. I said no. I said, see, national security, when we talk about data has a lot to do with the entire country as a whole, including national security, including the economy, including everything that exists that makes a nation. Now, are you going to allow Globalcom or MTN or whatsoever to be the one, to be the sole proprietor of your data as a country? If America comes tomorrow, if Russia comes tomorrow, if Ghana comes tomorrow and pays more than what you pay to MTN, they will sell out the data of your country.
Definitely.
And that was how I objected that point. Now, back to what you're saying. Of course, it is true that we know that they go out there to to, enjoy themselves, to explore the Western world. They even get services from the Western world. Now, let me tell you something. There's a difference between a consumer and the producer. Permit me to say this, and correct me if I'm wrong. For the most part, more than 85% of the citizens of Nigeria are consumers anywhere they are in the world. More than 85% of them are consumers. A lot of these leaders, when they come out, when they come to the West, what do they come to do? They only come to consume. They see all these beautiful things. And I'll give you a case of Babatunde Fashola, the former governor of Lagos State. When Raji Fashola came to power, he saw these beautiful bus stops and all those in the West. And he brought a prototype of the same bus stop. He brought that prototype to Lagos. But guess what? It didn't last for too long. Why did you think it didn't last for too long? Because there was a reason those things were made, where he saw them. He brought them as a consumer. He didn't bring them as a producer. So he didn't understand the ingredients that make up the bus stop. Where he stole this thing from. Rain doesn't fall there. They don't have rain. So if you build the type of bus stop in Nigeria that does not have rain, I mean, in Nigeria there rains almost every now and then, that kind of bus stop will not work. It's not going to work. So these guys, they are consumers. So that's where I'm objecting. Partly what you said there. You are right about that other side. This particular one, that's the way it is. These guys are consumers. They cannot understand the intricacies of national development from that perspective. Just like the person that has lived overseas for more than 30 years, he's a consumer. If he does not engage in the system, to understand the system, he cannot know how it works. Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. Benjamin.
You do have a point there. Yeah, I appreciate what you just said. These guys, they think like consumers. They don't think like producers. Fine. But what I'm trying to say to you in essence is this. If you go into our national assemblies right now, you will discover that most of these guys, they have their master's degrees in whatever discipline they attended. And it gets to you that, and most of them did their master's here, if not their degree. So anybody that must have schooled in and abroad, has spent 2, 3, 4 years in abroad, and has attended that height of, let me say, being a lawmaker in a country like Nigeria, that should show you, that he has been to places that he knows that he is not even thinking like a consumer this time. He thinks like a stakeholder. So when you have people like this in the system, and the system does not work, and that builds up a question in you, and this question is, what is really happening there?
James is boring.
And somebody will say to you, somebody will say to you, how do you expect a lawmaker to make laws that will go against his fraudulent attitude?
Okay.
So this is when discipline and honesty and integrity comes in. When you give power or an office to somebody that is not disciplined, or that is not honest, or that does not even know his bearings, this is what you get. So in terms of functionality, Nigeria would always be backward because you have a system that can function. You have a structure that can function. But the drivers of this structure are not ready to allow it function.
Okay.
So no matter how much you put in the system, it seems as if you're throwing stone into the river. So what do we need? We need, as my brother said, coronavirus has brought about a demarcation between old life and new life. It is the right time for Nigerians to attain a new height and turn around and start thinking differently, because in terms of databasing, what does that take? What does that take? Everybody can build up their own little database systems and bring it to one central one. What does it take? It doesn't take anything. The money each senator goes up with is enough to build up a proper database system, but these guys are not ready to do it. You see, it's just like setting trap for yourself when you know that you are a witchcraft or a witch. Why would you set trap for yourself? You will not do that.
Yeah. Okay.
So until Nigerians are able to come back to the drawing board and look at the structure once more, and now say to themselves, listen, it is time to turn around and make Nigeria the place it should be. I was listening to one of the senators when he was saying something about UCH, the hospital in the 60s. And he was comparing it to the hospital of today. And the minister and the Honorable Minister of Health was only busy saying, oh, we've been able to put people into the system, they will look at it, we should be able to bring it back to, without concrete explanation. Common coronavirus in Nigeria, the health minister cannot come out and say to you, listen, we have 200 million people in Nigeria, these are the plans of the government, this is where we're going to raise the funds from, and they've not even appeal to the taxpayers that the money we will use to fight this virus, or the money that we're going to raise, is going to be from ABC. Nobody tells you that. There is no transparency, there is no explanation, and they are not even ready to cooperate. Somebody will just come and say, oh, donated 1 billion, the other one donated 2 billion. They will count it, and at the end of the day, they will end up with 200 billion. Where is that money? What are they going to use it for? If they're using that money on coronavirus, what have you put in place? How much did you do that for? How much is left? What do you need? What do you not need? When it happened in America, Trump brought experts, 14 experts altogether, and everybody gave their own 10. They came in and gave their own piece of advice. But you cannot see that in Nigeria because people are not ready to discuss. So even if you have the biggest database from now till tomorrow, when your mindset is not correct, there is no way Nigeria can move forward. So charity begins at home. We have to start from where it started, all right, and turn a new leaf. If it means we clean up the old guys in the system and bring in fresh brains into the system, people who are ready to die for Nigeria, people who understand where Nigeria should go to, people that are ready to build a bridge for the unforeseen children or the unforeseen future of Nigeria, Nigeria will become a better place. But until then, my brother, there will be nothing like functionality. All that things you see in the state will say, oh, we build roads, we build this and that. Go and ask the citizens of the state. Okay, like from the state I come from Akwa Ibom State, an oil-producing state, very heavy. We have big allocations and all that. With all the structures that they say, oh, public building is done, fine, good, I like that. It's good. It has brought a lot of things into my state. But my problem remains this. Go into each and everybody's home individually and ask them, have you eaten? Some of them have not eaten for 2 days. Some of them have not eaten for 3 days. Some of them have not even had no hope to even eat. So how do they survive in an oil-producing state like that? The farming and the fishing they were doing before, they do not have that opportunity to do that because of oil spillage and the rest of the things. But nobody will call them into account. Coronavirus just came and you expect everybody to go inside to save life. I can understand that. That happens in big countries that have sat down to make plans for their citizens. But when you tell them to go inside, what are they going to feed on? Do you have food bank? What alternatives have you made? What about the senators that represent these guys in their senatorial districts? What about the House of Rep members? Now that there's problem in the land, have you seen them? You will not see them. They will run into their hiding because they're not ready to give account of what they've done. They know that they've done. What about projects? There is no, my brother. So it's not just functionality and structures. See, it has to majorly do with mindset. So until we are able to correct our mindset, there is no way all what we are talking about will function.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate your input. Mr. AY, 1 second. One of the things I observe in Nigeria is, I always say this, and I'll say it again. When people say Nigerian government is bad, I will tell them Nigerian government is not bad. Nigerian people are the bad ones. And ask me why. Because if the government is bad, and you keep voting that government in, then you are the stupid one.
Yes.
Because if you're not stupid, you will not vote a government that is not working for you back into government again. And they will tell you they rigged the election. Jack Robinson. Yeah, they can rig the election. If 80% of the people vote for somebody, you cannot rig 80% of the vote. You can rig a vote that's about 60-70% or 60-40%. That's what you can rig. You cannot rig 80% vote. Am I right? Or am I just being silly to think that? Go ahead, Ayo. Go ahead.
Quick one. I wanted to just 2 things before I answer that question about the vote. there was a question I was asked about when the last census was done. From what I get here, it was 2006. From what I could see here, the last census was done in Nigeria in 2006. I'm not quite sure how extensive that was, but it said that 140 million, give or take. I mean, I still don't think that was a comprehensive census, but there you go. Then the other thing I want to talk about quickly was the issue of the Constitution. In the Constitution, for example, it states under Section 18, the government shall direct its policy towards ensuring that there are equal and adequate educational opportunities at all levels. Now, on that point, by the way, to do that, you need to have the census. So already the government is not meeting. So anyway, I'll pack that now. Now, going back to the question you were asking about election. I think everybody the last election was neither free nor was it fair. The people did not vote in this new. If the people were allowed to vote, I hazard a guess that we would have had a vote where it would be in between both parties. That's what would have happened. But what we ended up with was the electoral commission. It effectively became a government, and they were doing the bidding of the government. So we need to be very. I'm just clear about it. There wasn't an election; it was a selection. That's not to say that both sides, but that people are given the opportunity to have a proper, casting their votes. I guess I'm almost certain that there will be no clear way, and that will have actually benefited the whole citizen. It stands out because that wasn't the case. So for me, in the situation from voting, they're chasing me from voting.
Okay.
So for that, on that basis, that's what I would say.
Okay. I think Mr. Anita, Mr. Benjamin wants to say something about the election. But before he says what he wants to say, one of the biggest problems we have in Nigeria is that it is very hard for you to even know how many people register for election to vote, because it still comes to the problem of database. And if they have an election, if they have a censor 2006, that censor, if they maintain their database properly, they should be able to follow it up in a way that they will not have to make censor easily anymore, because the birth rate and the death rate and the amount of people traveling out and coming back, they should be able to use that one to analyze what is going on and provide the right infrastructure for the citizen. But Nigeria, being who they are, they're not doing that. Everybody is just doing what they like. Are we going to see a better Nigeria in our generation, Mr. Benjamin?
So to speak, I think so. Because I'm always very positive when it comes to the future. I see Nigeria going somewhere in Jesus' name, because that country, you see, it is only God that drives us. When you place your hope on individuals, it goes the other way. I see Nigeria excel to that level someday, very soon. My take about this is this. In terms of census in Nigeria, I believe this is the right time for us to carry out a comprehensive census in Nigeria, so that will determine exactly how many we are in Nigeria. Then, by so doing, the government will be able to plan according to how many people we have. You know, there used to be this old system. I don't know how 100% that has been. I've not been in Nigeria for so many years. That in the north, people used to count cattle and the rest of the things together, you know, as human beings to make a whole number. I don't know how honest or how truthful that is, but for me, I think it makes a little bit of sense, because when it comes to voting, another thing in Nigeria is no matter how many you are, or no matter the census you carry out in Nigeria, I keep saying it, everything has to do with mindsets. in a community or a society that you have politicians maneuver people's rights, they can control you, they can control what you eat, they can control your movement, they can control everything. It becomes a joke. It becomes a joke because, my brother, these guys, they will starve you to that extent that they will know that if they give you $100 to feed your family, you will not have a choice than to go out there and vote for them. All these things has to be corrected. Human beings, people has to be mobilized. A lot has to be done in Nigeria. As I said, if we want to start from census, let us start now. Coronavirus has brought about that awareness, or that has brought about that demarcation between a whole lot of things in the whole wide world. So we can use this opportunity now and correct our mistakes by creating a brand new, or carrying out a brand new census in the country, so that can determine, or we can determine how many we are in each region, or whatever we want to call it. Then from there we can work towards that. By the time we are able to have a comprehensive list of how many we are, you will see that life will come to normal. We will know how to talk. We will not know. We still have this problem of three Nigeria: the Igbos, the Yorubas, and the Hausas. We've not even come to the other part of the Niger Delta, who has produced so much for the country. Yeah. What about that census there? You've not counted these people. You've not. So there's a lot of problem. So you have to start from counting and from knowing who your next person is, and from knowing how many people you are in your community, so that even if the someone said that the local government can budget based on who they have, before you even talk about having a viable election in the country. The way things are going right now, my brother, honestly speaking, me and you, we live in the UK, we know how election is. We don't need to go out there and struggle with anybody. The same database we are talking about is being used. So you don't need to do it. You can just press buttons. You can do things online, and you can vote online, and you go home and rest, knowing very well that their vote count. In Nigeria, most people go out there, 20,000 people will vote, their vote will not count. Nobody will know about their vote. How do you even start that? So, yes, because there's no database. INEC is dodgy. The voters are dodgy. The man that is contesting for the political party here is dodgy. So the whole system becomes dodgy. The only way you know how to hold a man tight is when the man is hungry. Yeah. Turn Nigeria around right now. Give people jobs. Let everybody have jobs. You will see the mindset will change in a second. Because that's the reason why they cannot change my mindset and your mindset in the diaspora. They cannot, because everybody is self-content. You have what you're doing. You have what to eat. You don't have to go out there to beg your mom and that's something. You know where to go to, or you know where to channel your problems to. So by the time you have a country like that, things will run in the direct direction. So Nigeria has a lot of problems. So that's why when I see they say, oh, the next election is coming, and this one is coming out to be the next governor, let us vote this, and this, and that, all formalities, all jargons. They are going to lie to you. They will rig the election. They already know who they want. They already have their candidates. So the system is already a failure. And I said to Nigerians, why do you even bother yourself to go out there and vote? You don't need to go out there and vote. You don't need to go out there and vote. You have to not strike, not fight. You have to come to a round table discussion with these guys to make them understand that the common man is angry. Yeah. Because the common man is not taken along. The people's mandate does not matter. It's not a problem to them. So it's either you vote or you leave it. You will see one headsman will come into the party ground. They'll say, oh, tomorrow is election. You will see them. They come with money. They'll come with truckloads of money. Who does that? Go to the line. They start intimidating people with their security officers. Then they'll start throwing money about. When somebody has been hungry since in the morning, he's not had anything to eat, he does not even have hope to feed his family the next 2 days, and you're giving him 20,000 or 5,000, he can kill the whole world.
Yes. Okay,
so
thank you.
Everyone has to be mobilized. Everybody has to have their say. Nigerians do not have their say when it comes to election. So it's a pity, and I pray that Nigerians can actually sit down and say to themselves, you know what, the next governorship election, the next senatorial election, I am not going to vote the people as usual. I'm not going to do it my normal way. I'm going to go out of my way and vote somebody that I know will protect my interests in this government, and somebody who is capable, and somebody who knows what to do, somebody who has the people in heart. So let's not even talk about the election because it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Okay.
It does not work. If you like carry out the whole census without, it doesn't work. So we have to start all over again to set up a brand new structure to be able to get to where we want to.
Okay,
yeah. I'd like to add, yes, definitely we need to go start again. And start again for me, they see the last election now. Had we had a proper database, we would have been in a situation whereby you would be able to, within a few hours, give a result of any election within 10 hours. You would be able to, that's what happens in the UK. Because they already know the number, they have the demographics of people who are going to vote. Young, old, they're disabled, they have all of that. So when you go and vote, it's just a system. It's a button that's pressed, they count it, it makes the whole process quicker
and easy.
So, everything to be said for having a database. A database improves the functionality of the nation, improves the reliability that you can place on election. But as you can see, with our elections, they are always jigging the figures. Somebody will come with anecdotes that they fail to put in just before the election. So all of this stuff, it impacts it. The lack of accurate data is impacting every area. And it's actually now threatening the very existence of that contract. Because if you don't have that data, people cannot impact the life in terms of because you don't have accurate data. Those hospitals that's needed in those areas, you don't need it. Because you have factors that aid in now we have this coronavirus and 5G on the health. It needs that help. If you don't, people will die.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I don't care who answers among the two of you. Will the people of Nigeria, are they the one trying to make Nigeria unworkable, or the government is the people that trying to make it unworkable?
Okay.
I would say there are people within the government who have their own agenda that they want to put in place. And those people within the government are then creating division among the people just to achieve their own goals. So the people are not seeing the unseen hand that is directing their actions. But there are people within the government that are ensuring that the people's needs are not met because it suits their aims. That's why the absurdity of it to in the government, the simple example, to say that we are putting in law the sponsoring of an agency called the Boko Haram Agency or Repentant Boko Haram. Yeah. And then the interest of the citizens are totally ignored. You have thousands of, maybe even millions in IDP camps, and the government is not talking about that. And that's what I mean by having an agenda outside of the normal government. Those who are supposed to be in governance for the people actually have their own agenda, and they completely throw. They've tossed the constitution and their responsibilities into the bin, and they're focusing on their own plan, aims, and objectives. And the nation unless we deal with this, they actually what they are is threatening the very existence of that contractor that they like to talk about. They are putting it at peril.
Okay, thank you very much, Citizens NY. Because of time, we will be running out. We'll be running it down shortly. What is the best solution? How can we fix this? What is the quick fix? Is there a quick fix? Is there going to be a long-time fix?
Yeah, for me, there is nothing about this because we already have qualified leaders in Nigeria, people who are in the system, the political system in Nigeria. They already know their onions, they know what it takes. Let's talk about the pretense because it's just about pretense. They just want to be who they want to be and know what they have to do. We have a little bit of time to start afresh. There's nothing wrong with starting afresh. we can restructure and we can set it function. You understand? By the time we have the right people in place, all the government of the day needs to do is to choose the right people, do the right budgeting, and look into what Nigeria needs, not what they need. We need to sit down and have a roundtable discussion with the whole of the Nigeria. We have to carry every expert along, people that knows what time it is. We can start that from the federal level to the state level, from the state down to the local government. We need the right people in power, and we need them to do the right things, take the right decisions, set the right pace, and work with the right people. Nigeria can become a better place in a minute, because already the structure. Let me tell you something, my brother. I keep saying to people, Nigerians are the most law-abiding people. If you can trim them the way you want them to be, they will be. If you trim Nigerians, let's take for example when Buhari was the president before, during the days of Idi Amin, when we had war against indiscipline. You understand? That Nigeria could follow until the same Nigeria till tomorrow. Okay, what about coronavirus? Now they've introduced a system that everybody should go inside. If you give them what they want, they will quietly go inside. So Nigerians are ready to work. Give them the right directives, give them the right leadership, show them that little honesty, and give them what they want. The country will function. My brother, we don't need too much in Nigeria to function. I know Nigerians, they are very hardworking, they are determined. Give them good roads, just basic infrastructures. Just give them those little things and see the way they will go. Who is India? Nobody will see our back.
Fantastic, yeah.
Nobody will see our back. Just give them those little things to what we call springboard. Give them that little springboard. You will see how Nigeria will spring. Have you been to the Igbo part of the country? Have you seen the innovations? Have you seen the people who are ready to work or to come up with things? We have to have an inbuilt system that the government can sponsor people. And also, we have to come up with things like insurances that will give people guarantee when they are investing their money, when they're going into things. A lot of Nigerians have money, and people will say, oh, Nigerians have money, they don't want to invest their money in their country. Who will invest money in a system that, for example, you have a car shop, and the next thing you have something like maybe fire. Fire comes in there, burns up everything, you don't have insurance to go back to business. How do you fare up with that? So people are so careful that they are not ready to put in their money into the country when the country is not moving in the right direction. So but once you have the right leadership and put the right things in place, you will see Nigerians, they will start unbearing, they will start bringing out their money, they will start investing because they know where to fall back to. So that is all we need. We need that coordination, that true leadership, and that honesty in the system, so that when we say that $100 billion is needed to set up certain things, we know that we are setting up the right thing. We know that President said he was going to do that road construction, and he will do it. He will adhere to his promises. These are the things we need in Nigeria, so that Nigerians can now copy up the right leadership and follow up their footsteps. That's my take.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Citizen White, the last word with a question from me. The youth, can they ever do it better with the mindset of these youth, Yahoo boys, Yahoo plus? Can the youth ever do it better than these old banks?
One of the things is I disagree about labeling our youths Yahoo boys. Some youths do Yahoo, some, but because of the failure of governance, of our leaders in failing to provide many with jobs, it's easier for them to label all the youths as lazy youths, as Buhari likes to say, and then not deal with the fact that the government of the day, for example, instead of buying Inauto cars, they go and buy Toyota cars and XLEs, spending 30 million per vehicle, when they can buy Inauto cars for only about 7 to 9 million, saving something like 18 to 20 million naira a car for 400 hours of reps. That would create jobs. If they bought those cars, if they bought those Nigerian cars made by Inauto, they would create jobs, and that job, they will create not only jobs for the people making the cars, but other service industries like repairs of the cars, refurbishment, upholstery of the cars. That have no effect. But the visionless that they have, all they seem to do is just want to spend the money and then blame the youth for trying to look at them and say, "You are living that lifestyle. I want that lifestyle as well." But the government needs to show by example that look, okay, if we're going to put an economy, we are actually going to lead by using three things you can do
before it's too late. Yeah.
Term.
Okay. Thank you very much for that.
Short-term, medium term, and long-term goal.
Okay. I'm gonna take Mr. Davidson last word. You haven't finished, Mr. Ayo. Have you finished?
No, I haven't. Let me just quickly say. I wanted to just say quickly. So there's three things we need to do if we're going to rescue Nigeria. And let's be very, very clear. We are at the point where this contraption will actually disintegrate the report, whether because of the very action of those in government. That is very likely to happen. But if they want to rescue it, there's three things we need to do. Short-term goals, medium-term goals, and long-term goals. Short-term goals. Census. We need a census. Because if we don't have data, you can't plan anything. Forget it.
Yes.
Medium-term goals. Medium-term goals. Now looking at what's for the census. Now looking at using those figures to now look at building things in those places. And then maybe in that mid-term goals, looking at people who are in those government places, making sure that they use local stuff. That will make their mind stay in Nigeria. They cannot be buying stuff outside. They can't. And long-term goal is to now make sure that all our government officials, they now make sure that everything they do, they account for. They now have to, they have to recommit to our constitution. Without any of that stuff, sorry, it's not going to work. It won't work. And honestly, I have doubts about that.
Yeah.
Because
Thank you very
of
much. Thank you very much.
Thank
I'm
you.
not sure if Mr. Davidson can hear me because I couldn't see his microphones moving. Mr. Davidson, could you do your phone to landscape for me, please? Yeah, if you can hear me. Mr. Davidson, your phone to landscape. Okay, that's good. That's good. But I'm not sure if your audio is on. Did you authorize your audio? Because your audio is not coming through. You can disconnect and connect again so that I can let you have your last word. Otherwise, I'm going to let you go and then you can put your last word in the comment underneath later on. Thank you very much, everyone who has joined me tonight. I really appreciate you. I thank you for being my guest on the show tonight. And I'm sure we've actually educated ourselves a little bit on how to make Nigeria a better place. In the sum up, everybody has got a part to play. You, me, them, everyone. The people that work in the ministry, the people that work in the hospital, the police has got their own parts to play, the bus driver has got their own part to pay, the sweeper has got their own part to pay, the people who are the seaport, the people at the passport office, everybody needs to start making sure that we can start developing a good database that will work. Without a good database, the government cannot provide enough hospital bed for people because they don't even know how many people are there. They cannot provide school because you don't know. If they ask the state governor today, next year, how many new entrants are you going to get for how many new pupils are coming into the school? They can't give the figure. Whereas in England, they will make provision. They will say, okay, sometimes, some few years ago, they said in Southwark that they have more people coming into primary school in Southwark that year, so they have to make more provision. But if you don't have a good database, you can't do that, I'm afraid. So until next time I come your way again, we're going to be discussing something else on the Nigeria, the structure and function of all things. How we can make it to work. My name is Adi Thomas. I remain yours, lovely. Thank you very much for joining me, my guest, Ayo Oguneme, Citizen AY, Benjamin and...
Antia.
Are you still there? Okay. Benjamin,
thank you very much.
Yeah, Benjamin Antia, yeah.
Frozen. Yeah. Thank you very
Citizen
much.
AY.
And we lost Mr. Davidson, and I'm sure he's going to leave his final word on the comment section. I really thank you all for taking your time, especially at this late time. Until next time we come your way again, everybody stay tight and make sure you stay safe. Stay at home. Take care.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Susan Jumoke Fajano Thomas. It is important for us to stay at home. It is important for people to stay at home. By staying at home, you will help control the spread of the virus. You will help control the virus from spreading to your friends, colleagues, and the community. It is important we come together at this time to work together to support each other. Is by doing this and by staying at home that we can fight this virus. Also, it is important to practice social distancing, which means you need to stay 2 meters away from other people at all times. Please, let's do it together. Hashtag stay at home. Thank you.
Everybody in London, have you heard that Heritage Television has come up with something new? All your functions and celebrations can now be multi-camera live stream. That was only reserved for the rich and famous. Having a function in London can be viewed clean and clear immediately from any part of the world. Trust Heritage TV to give you a better reach. Heritage Television also does photography that will make you the envy of all your friends and family. Heritage Television is the best. All your functions like birthdays, funerals, weddings, church anniversaries or harvest. Heritage Television is the master. We are in the heart of London with an ultra-modern equipped studio. You can call us on 020-800-46100 or email us info@heritagetv.co.uk or mobile 0734 1234 560. Heritage Television will do you proud.
Every day.